What's going on, guys? Stack back here with another defensive video. This is going to be the second video in the defensive series. Again, we're in the Miami Dolphins playbook, but these formations are found in a lot of other playbooks. In this video, we're going to be going over my personal favorite defense because you can just blitz the living daylights out of people. And that's what I like to do. This is super straightforward. These setups are not complicated. It's very tough to set up a complicated blitz in this game just because it's just quick snap central. And I feel like this is just the easiest formation in the entire game to blitz out of. And that formation is going to be the 4-3 even 6-1. As you'll notice, it's found in other 3-4 playbooks, so you can use the 3-4 odd and the 4-3 6-1 even out of a few playbooks. Personnel-wise, what I like to do is I like to have really good pass rushers at the defensive end spots. And the interior are going to be your beef eaters, your big guys who stop the run. In Mutt, I actually use two inside stuff guys, and you don't have to do this, but I just want to explain the rationale behind that. It's difficult to double team block both of these guys in here, especially with these guys occupying the other linemen. So typically the inside runs, they shoot the gap. They're not always going to make the play, but they're going to disrupt the play, and then we can use her and clean up the run. The outside linebackers, all I really care about for this is speed and a little bit of coverage ability, because we will sometimes drop these guys into zones, but we're mainly going to be blitzing these guys. Your middle linebacker, I like a guy with decent strength and decent zone coverage. He doesn't have to be fast. I don't use her this middle linebacker. I use her one of the safeties. You can use the middle linebacker in this defense. I just typically don't. But if in case, if you are going to use her the linebacker, of course you want to use a guy with good speed, change of direction, things like that. You'll notice that in this formation you cannot sub safeties in anywhere at the linebacker spots. So that's why we're going to be blitzing these guys. This is super easy. This is super basic. I'm going to come out in cover 3, which is my personal favorite. You either run cover 3, cover 4, or cover 2. You can run man coverage every now and then, but I typically don't. That's just kind of like a mix-in call. Maybe you do once or twice a game. And this formation is not subtle whatsoever. When you come out in this formation and give the look that we're going to give, your opponent knows you are going to be blitzing. So notice that we are baselined. Our adjustments, our coaching adjustments are set on base. What we're going to do in order to get our guys in better position to blitz is we're going to blitz all linebackers, base align, press, and I kind of like to shift the line over a little bit over here. If you get this look, right, and this linebacker's all the way out here, which is what happens for trips, you can put him on a zone, and at the snap of the ball, you'll have a guy coming in free. You will have to adjust the coverage. Obviously, that halfback was wide open on the backside. If you don't want to put this linebacker in coverage over here on this side, on the left side, then you don't necessarily have to. I feel like it just works better when you put him in coverage. But that being said, if you're getting killed on this right side and you really want to drop this linebacker into a flat, the linebacker on the left side is going to come in still, so he's just a little bit slower, right? Like I said, this is not subtle whatsoever. Your opponent, once you give this look, knows that you're going to be blitzing. So what I do every now and then, I give this look, but then I zone everybody out. And in order to do this, you just have to be comfortable with the backer adjustments. Really, really easy stuff to do. You can even put a guy into a spy on the defensive line and just max coverage them. And you'll still get, a somewhat decent pass rush, especially if you have the good defensive ends, like I mentioned, like the good pass rushing ends. But for the most part, we are going to be blitzing the hell out of people. And that's why I really like this, because I hate playing coverage personally, because there's no timer in your opponent's head. They think they have all day. And most of the time, if they have a really good team, they do. They have a long time. Man coverage, not everybody can play that lockdown man coverage in this game. I mean, if you have really, really good corners, you spent a lot of money or spent a ton of time building up your team, yes. But if you're a guy like me who doesn't spend a lot of time or a lot of money on the game, then you're going to need to be a little bit more creative on defense to get stops. You can't just call the stock 2-man under or the man coverage with purples and just assume that you're going to unbox everybody. It just doesn't work. So this is how we're going to get stops. We're going to put our opponent, we're going to make sure that he has a timer in his head when he has to throw the ball, when he has to get rid of it. And we're going to do our best with our user to take away that first read. And obviously with the users, you want good speed and change of direction. In MUT, the guys I use Derwin James and Taylor Mays at both of these safety positions in case I need to, switch to one or the other, because I do have auto flip on. Typically, you want a user, the safety that's not in the deep zone. Every now and then you will switch to him, but if you've blitzed in Madden before, if typically that is your style, is to really blitz a lot, then this is something that's for you, and also the risk/reward to it. You can get a little adjusty with this. Just don't get too crazy. Don't get too cute. If you're going to send everybody, so like say I blitz everybody here, and you have, let's say you have your flats on 25 yards. You can do something like this, but it's risky. If they max protect and they bomb you and your rush doesn't get home, you're in a world of trouble. So that's the risk to it. Blitzing is always a risk reward type situation. Let's see, something that this struggles with. I think we should definitely go over that too, is spread sets. Spread sets can be difficult to blitz like this, just because there's so much ground to cover, and even if you put your linebackers in zones, they are linebackers at the end of the day. They're not going to be as fast or as good in coverage as say like a safety or a corner. So if we go to this spread play and we go to Y option, you'll also notice that the linebacker kicks all the way out to the receiver. So if this were the case, I would never leave that linebacker blitzing. I would always put him into some sort of a zone. But as you can see, if they were to put a smoke route over here on the left and then have a post route over the middle, we're kind of in trouble. When we're really playing that cat and mouse game of, okay, what is my opponent actually going to do here? And if you get too adjusty, for example, you say they're putting that smoke route there, you put a hard flat out there, and they run a fly, and then they have a post down here. It's just it's tough. You're going to get bombed deep. The idea of this defense is to get the ball out quickly and make tackles and force mistakes and not to give up the big play. So use this at your own peril. That's all I would say. Against spread sets, but this is not something I would come out against, 5 wide or gun spread or anything like that. I have a different defense that we'll show in the next video on how I defend those sets. As far as abilities go, I make sure I have Acrobat on my defensive backs, especially my users, so you can get those glitchy animations and things like that. If you put those linebackers, if you put the X Factor, I believe it's called, I think it's Unstoppable Force. They get I think 1 or 2 sacks and they're in the zone. If you put Selfless on your user and you get an interception, it puts everybody in the zone. I believe that's how that works. I'm not 100% sure. Abilities really are not my forte. You definitely have to ask somebody else. But that's kind of how I've been running my team. Selfless on my user, crazy blitz abilities and X factors on my defensive line. So, all right, guys, next video we're going to be looking at an actual nickel package, something that people are a little bit more comfortable in, sending a little bit, less subtle of a blitz.